Brazil's former president Jair Bolsonaro has been barred from running for political office until 2030 by the country's highest electoral court. The court reportedly found him guilty of abusing his power and misusing public media during the 2022 election campaign. The decision upends the 68-year-old's political future and likely erases any chance of him to regain power. Good evening, I'm Chitrakar, and these are the headlines of the hour. Prime Minister Dahal expresses commitment of intensifying investigation on corruption cases, assures of giving full support in investigation of the fake Bhutanese citizenship and Lalita Niwas scams. Floods and landslides occur at various places in the country. 5 highways obstructed, one-way traffic in operation in 12 highways, including the Narangad-Muglin road section. At least 48 people killed in a road accident in Londiani, Western Kenya, when a truck carrying a shipping container veered off the road and plowed into several vehicles. And West Indies bowled out for a modest total of 181 runs by Scotland in the Super 6 match of the ICC World Cup qualifier. Brandon McMullen grabs 3 wickets for Scotland. Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal has expressed commitment of intensifying investigations on cases of corruption. During an interview with journalists in Pokhara today, the Premier claimed of giving continuity to the probes into corruption cases and that police have continued investigations on such cases. Premier Dahal went on to pledge government assistance in prioritizing investigations on cases of corruption, including the fake Bhutanese refugee scam and the Lalita Niwas land scam. Prime Minister Dahal said that the government has been making efforts to address the issues of the general public. He recalled the inclusion of Nepali laborers abroad in government's Social Security Fund. Premier Dahal termed his recent India visit as fruitful and made the announcement of his visit to China soon. 5 highways in the country have been obstructed due to landslides induced by incessant rainfall. According to the Department of Roads, one-way traffic is in operation in 12 highways. Meanwhile, landslides in different parts of Palpa under the Siddhartha Highway has obstructed the roadway since early this morning. Landslides have been reported in Tinau Rural Municipality 3, Dobhan, Siddha Baba, Chumsa, Pani Mill, Kalimati, among a dozen places under the Siddhartha Highway. Rock slides have occurred in Dobhan Siddha Baba road section, while Dobhan police have reported of difficulty in removing the debris amid continuous rain. Head of the District Traffic Police Office, Damodar Malla, said that muddy landslides have obstructed vehicular movement through the highway. Vehicular movement has resumed partially through the road section between Tansen and Gulmi. Likewise, one-way vehicular movement has resumed in the road section in Siddhartha Highway under the Kaligandaki corridor that connects Pipal Dada and Rampur. Vehicular movement through the Narangad-Muglin road section has partially resumed. The road section where landslide had occurred on Wednesday was obstructed today as well due to another landslide early this morning. Police have said the landslide debris in 10 kilo of Ichakamana Rural Municipality have been removed by excavator. However, vehicular movement have been resumed partially amid continuous risk of landslide. Vehicular movement through the road section had remained obstructed since Thursday noon and had resumed from yesterday evening. The landslide debris in the road section was removed after 28 hours. However, another landslide occurred at the same place before all the vehicles could pass through, which has caused traffic congestion in the highway. Rise in water flow has been recorded in Tinau River of Rupandehi amid incessant rainfall since last night. Issuing a notice, the Flood Assessment Center, Butwal, has urged people to remain alert regarding possible risk of the river crossing the danger level. According to the center, lower areas and river banks in Butwal, Palpa and surrounding areas are at risk of flood as the water level has risen due to incessant rainfall for the past few hours. Experts say that Tinau and Danab rivers that start flowing from Palpa spreads up to 237 meters in terms of width. However, the width of the river in Butwal has been limited to 50 to 70 meters due to dense settlement in river banks and lower areas. Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal has stressed on the importance of the role of chief ministers in proper implementation of federalism. Chairing the meeting of the National Coordination Council today, Prime Minister Dahal emphasized on the effective role of chief ministers to make the general public optimistic regarding federalism. The meeting of the Coordination Council has been held for the first time in Pokhara after the formation of the Federation, Provincial and Local Act 2077. The meeting had dwelled on clarifying the jurisdiction of the province government and formulation of required laws at the province. The council's members will include ministers for finance, law, home and federal affairs. As per the provision, chief ministers of each province and representatives from the opposition parties must also be included as members of the Coordination Council. Likewise, 7 members from the local level must also be included. Time now for our segment, Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Here's the question: why have laws required for provinces not formulated despite 8 years of federalism? Your options are A, centralized mindset, B, jurisdiction confusion, and C, dilly-dally trend. Voting is on. Tap any AWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. A 24-year-old woman and her 2-year-old daughter have been found dead in Pataura of Maulapur municipality of Rautahat. Superintendent of Rautahat Police Bir Bahadur Buda Magar said that Kavita Devi Shah, also known as Mala, and her 2-year-old daughter Aruhi were found dead early morning today. SP Buda Magar said that investigation is underway and that Shah's husband Thirendra and father-in-law Nagendra Shah have been absconding. Meanwhile, Kavita's family have alleged that the incident occurred after they failed to fulfill her in-laws' demands for money and gold in dowry. Coffee farmers in Sindhupalchok have begun utilizing barren lands as the demand for coffee have gone up in export destinations like South Korea, USA and Japan. Sindhupalchok's organic coffee has enjoyed growing popularity in recent time. However, the exports has failed to meet the demands. Farmers in the region say the higher returns in coffee has motivated them to raise production capacity. In Sindhupalchok, farmers sell their coffee popularly branded for export as Sindhu coffee, worth up to 200,000 rupees annually. At present, 150 farmers have been growing coffee in a land area of around 124 hectares in the district, producing 30 to 60 tons of coffee each year. Time now for international update. At least 48 people were killed in a road accident in Londiani, Western Kenya yesterday evening when a truck carrying a shipping container veered off the road and plowed into several vehicles. Footage of the accident's aftermath carried by local broadcasters showed the twisted wreckages of cars and motorbikes alongside damaged minibuses and trucks. Regional Police Commander Tom Odera said the death toll stood at 48. The Kenya Red Cross said the truck rammed more than 6 vehicles and ran over pedestrians. More than 20 casualties were taken to local hospitals. The death toll makes the accident one of the most deadly on Kenya's roads in recent years. Last year, 34 people died in central Kenya when their bus veered off a bridge and plunged into a river valley. A bus crashed and burst into flames, killing at least 25 people and injuring 8 in India's western state of Maharashtra in the early hours today. Local police said the bus crashed into a road divider at around 1:35 a.m. local time on an expressway, rupturing the vehicle's diesel tank and sparking a fire, adding that most of the victims were unable to escape the burning vehicle. The state's Chief Minister Eknath Shinde and Prime Minister Narendra Modi posted separate tweets expressing sorrow and said they would pay support to each victim's family amounting to 700,000 Indian rupees. A 43-year-old Tajik man grabbed a gun, shot dead 2 security officers and wounded a civilian at Moldova's main international airport yesterday after being denied entry. Police said he was himself injured and apprehended in an incident that briefly grounded flights at Chisinau International Airport. One witness said she heard 4 or 5 shots. Prime Minister Dorin Risian said the shooter seized a weapon from a border police official as he was being escorted away. Offering condolences, President Maya Sandu said the 2 killed were a border guard and an airport security officer. Moldova, which gained independence from the Soviet Union in 1991, has a population of 2.6 million and is pushing to join the European Union. The country's airports are often used for flights by neighboring Ukrainians since Russia's invasion of their homeland. Former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro has said that a decision by Brazil's Federal Electoral Court to bar him from public office until 2030 for his conduct during last year's fraud election was a stab in the back. 5 out of 7 justices voted to convict the 68-year-old Bolsonaro for abuse of power and misuse of the media over his actions in July 2022, ahead of the election, when he summoned ambassadors to vent unfounded claims about Brazil's electronic voting system. Bolsonaro has denied wrongdoing and his lawyers have pledged to appeal to the Supreme Court. He said he would keep working to advance right-wing politics in Brazil. Their decision marks a stunning reversal for Bolsonaro, a fiery populist who narrowly lost October vote to leftist rival Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. Many in Brazil blame Bolsonaro for creating a nationwide movement to overturn the result, which culminated in the January 8 invasion of government buildings in Brasilia by thousands of his supporters. The impact from the Electoral Court's ruling is likely to ripple through Brazilian politics, removing Lula's main foe from contention in 2026 and opening up space among a competitive field on Brazil's right. As President Jair Bolsonaro, an admirer of former U.S. President Donald Trump, was criticized internationally for his lackluster stewardship of the Amazon rainforest, his approach to COVID-19 restrictions, and his evidence-free attacks on Brazil's electoral system. Bolsonaro also still faces multiple criminal probes that could put him behind bars. The 193 member states of the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, at an extraordinary session of its General Conference in Paris yesterday, approved the proposal submitted by the United States to rejoin the organization. After 2 days of discussions, 132 member states voted in favor and 10 against the return of the U.S. to the organization, from which the U.S. has withdrawn twice, causing a negative impact on the organization's work. The U.S. will fund the equivalent of 22% of the organization's regular budget, according to a press release from UNESCO. UNESCO said besides the progressive payment of the arrears, the U.S. will also make voluntary contributions to funding programs, including those supporting access to education in Africa and the memory of the Holocaust. Speaking to the press after the voting, Yang Jin, permanent representative of China to UNESCO, said that the U.S. should contribute to promoting the unity and cooperation of the organization after its return instead of engaging in confrontation and division. The United States pulled out of UNESCO twice in 1984 and 2017. In June this year, the U.S. sent a letter to the Director General of UNESCO proposing to rejoin the organization as early as July, based on a concrete financial plan, which includes the commitment to repay its estimated arrears of $619 million. France has deployed massive security in major cities in a bid to avert more violence following 3 consecutive nights of rioting after a police officer shot dead a teenager at a traffic stop in working-class suburb of Paris. French Interior Minister Gerald Darmanin said he was deploying 45,000 police, asking local authorities to halt bus and tram traffic from 9 p.m. local time across the whole of France. The government has said all options would be considered to stop the unrest. In the major northern city of Lille, small groups of protesters were milling around on major roads where gendarmes and riot police have been deployed in large numbers. In front of the Opera House in the heart of Paris, police searched several people as security forces massed nearby. And in Nanterre, site of the young man's shooting, long rows of police vans were already parked. Interior Minister Darmanin said last night had been far calmer than Thursday, despite there being at least 471 arrests so far. Speaking during a night visit to Yvelines, west of Paris, he told a member of the gendarmerie that they were seeing a downturn in violence. He said that the violence was of much less intensity and it was extremely calm in some departments. This comes amid widespread chaos being reported in cities across France, with the Interior Minister putting the number of arrests at least 471 tonight. More than 900 people were arrested the previous night. Before we wrap up, here's a look at the top stories once again. Prime Minister Dahal expresses commitment of intensifying investigation on corruption cases, assures of giving full support in investigation of the fake Bhutanese citizenship and Lalita Niwas scams. Floods and landslides occur at various places in the country. 5 highways obstructed, one-way traffic in operation in 12 highways, including the Narangad-Muglin road section. At least 48 people killed in a road accident in Londiani, Western Kenya, when a truck carrying a shipping container veered off the road and plowed into several vehicles. And West Indies bowled out for a modest total of 181 runs by Scotland in the Super 6 match of the ICC World Cup qualifier. Brandon McMullen grabs 3 wickets for Scotland. That's all for the moment. Our next English bulletin will be at 10:30 tonight. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.